I'm sure that most of us grew up hearing ghost stories about scary urban legends. The excitement that these stories delivers is one that I like very much. Sure, it spooks and scares us, or make our hair stand, but hearing the stories and living the experience through the words gives a different kind of excitement. To bring the same excitement in you, I made this video of 10 urban legends from Nepal. Nepal is a country of great beauty, and within that beauty lies the diverse culture and tradition of Nepali people. This gives rise to many different beliefs of gods and ghosts. Starting off at number 1 is Kichkandi. This probably is the most well-known urban legend of Nepal. Children often grow up hearing about it, because the story of Kichkandi started spreading during the time of King Pratapmala about approximately 380 years ago. Its story can be heard not only in Nepal, but also in some parts of India. According to Nepali folklore, Kichkandi, or Kichkanya, is an evil spirit of a deceased woman. These evil spirits are latched onto a part of the deceased woman's body, such as a bone, after cremation. People say that the women who becomes Kichkandi were treated in a bad manner or unfairly in life, or had died during pregnancy or childbirth. It mostly target and affect male victims more. People who claim to have met these evil spirits usually describe them as young, fair and attractive, with features like long nails, very long hair almost reaching the ground, and skin and face pale as that of a dead body. It is a form they take to lure the men. The people claiming to have met them are usually drivers, who work at night, as Kichkandi are known to appear only at night, hitchhiking. If drivers fails to notice it and follow its direction, they end up in cremation ground or cemetery, where their life force is sucked out of them and left to die. In most of the stories, the victims die, but in some stories they survive. People of Nepal often say that one shouldn't sleep under a pipal tree or sacred fig. This might be a superstitious belief of people, but the story of one particular tree of Raniban is haunting the locals to this day. The tree is located in the jungle of Raniban in Achcham district, and has become an urban legend in the local community. The locals there are so afraid that they make sure to stay clear of the tree on their trips, and also suggest others visiting the place to do the same. People say that they can hear unusual noises coming from the tree. Sometimes at night, people say they hear crying voices and screams of a woman. Some even claim to have seen a ghostly white apparition of a woman sitting on top of the tree. If you knew about the incident that occurred at the tree, you would probably think it's obvious why the tree is haunted. Let me give some background. According to the local people, a terrible incident had occurred at the tree. A young woman from the same place had been raped and murdered by some guy at the same tree. Call it nature's justice or the vengeance of the ghost of the girl. The same guy was found dead, hanging from the same tree 2 days after the rape and death of the girl. The stories of Myuu-Angst and Kayak is amongst the old ones. In the Nepali folklore, Kayak is a mythical humanoid creature. They are usually depicted as short and hairy. The exact opposite of Kayak is Myuu-Angst, which literally translates as skeleton or bag of bones. So, Myuu-Angst is also a creature shaped as human, but only having bones as its body. There are different types of Kayak, but basically boils down to 2 types, which are white and black Kayak. Seeing a black Kayak is said to be a bad omen, which brings bad luck, whereas seeing white Kayak is said to be a good omen, which brings fortune and good luck. It is even said that white Kayak can fulfill our wishes and make us rich. There is a very interesting story about Myuu-Angst and Kayak. Since long ago, it is said that male Nepali people should wear a Nepali topi or cap while going outside, and female a shawl. According to the story, it is important to do so because you might just get yourself saved from the skeleton creature. When walking, the skeleton walks in a straight path and kills everyone in their way. A Kayak walks in front of the skeleton, and if anyone happens to come in the way, it signals them by dropping their cap or shawl on the ground. How scared would you be if you find women on fire dancing in the middle of the night? Let me paint the picture for you. Suppose, for some reason, you are traveling by foot on a familiar road at midnight. As you keep walking, you come across the cremation ground you always pass by and see 4 middle-aged women with fire on their body dancing, screaming and chanting some weird things. We are going to talk about the stories of people who experience the same scenario. Devghat of Chitwan, which is a famous cremation ground, is amongst many haunted places of Nepal. But this place isn't haunted by a ghost, but by living women and many aghoras. This cremation ground is located near Gandaki and Krishna Gandaki rivers. Being a popular cremation ground, this place has become a place of practice for aghorists and people who practice spells and magic. Since 2009 BS, many uncremated skulls of humans have been found at this place. Considering this place is actually a cremation ground, it isn't that weird. The actual weird thing about this place are those dancing women at night. Nobody has the guts to go in the middle of the night and ask the women why they are setting themselves on fire and dancing. So, the event still remains unexplained. Many people of Nepal have heard about the story of Tingante, which literally translates as 3-houred. This is a cautionary tale which warns us about the consequence of answering Tingante. According to this story, if knocking is heard coming from the door and you feel like something isn't right, then one shouldn't answer back until 3 knocks are completed. If you answer back, then you will hear Tingante and will die within 3 hours. The knock isn't the only thing which can be heard. The ghost can mimic the voice of a relative or family member and call you. The most annoying thing about this ghost is how can you know if it is actually people calling you or the ghost? Besides, if you ever encounter it and feel uneasy about responding, then don't. I mean, anyone can wait the time span of 3 knocks. Banjhakri are the shamanic deities of the forest. Ban means forest and Jakri means shaman. In the tradition of Kichkandi people, Banjhakri are the gods to other shamans. It bestows upon other shaman and some chosen people the shamanic knowledge and training. As there is always good and bad, yin and yang to everything, the worst part of the Banjhakri is its wife, who is an evil and flesh-eating cannibal creature. Although this forest-dwelling shamanic deity cannot be seen by normal people, still some people of Nepal claim to have seen and learned from Banjhakri. According to this story, it chooses some special boys and girls for it to teach them and continue the shamanic tradition. Then, they are abducted by it and taken into the forest. There they live in a cave and learn every shamanic knowledge. It is said that Banjhakri hides his students under a huge doko, which is a type of basket made of bamboo, so that its wife cannot eat the students. After they have learned the shamanic knowledge, Banjhakri returns them home to their family, where it originally had abducted them from. Shamans who learn from Banjhakri are said to be the most powerful shaman. Yeti, or as the Western culture calls it, abominable snowman, is a monstrous humanoid creature. This urban legend is an ancient one. It is the urban legend of Himalayan people or people living in mountains of Asian continent. The Yeti is described as an ape-like creature with very muscular build, covered with dark grayish hair and weighing nearly 2 times a normal human. It is said that it wanders around the snowy mountains alone and leaves footprints, which some claims to have pictured, but no one can be sure. The stories and urban legend of Yeti appears in folktale and popular stories, but there is no solid evidence of its existence. According to the sightings, it is believed to dwell in Himalaya, Siberia, Central and East Asia. Tenzing Norgay Sherpa, one of the 2 first men to reach the summit of Mount Everest, also reported seeing large footprints while climbing the mountain. Although he was skeptical of Yeti's existence, he had stated that his father had seen one twice. During the pre-19th century, Yeti was believed to be a glacier being worshipped by the indigenous communities, but the tales of the hairy snow beasts started circulating widely in the early 20th century. Now, it appears in stories and shows like The Adventure of Tintin. One possible explanation of the Yeti sighting might be the Himalayan wildlife. They might have seen a bear and mistaken it for a Yeti. There are hundreds of claimed proof of Yeti like the Yeti's scalp, which are all yet to be explained. There is another supernatural entity whose stories can be heard, not just in Nepal, but in India also. There is believed to be a dangerous type of entity which is more powerful than a spirit. It is believed that there is a form taken by cursed divine beings, born in an inferior state. To be reborn in a divine god state, it helps its masters. It is a type of ghost which is like a faithful servant for his master. All of the previously mentioned ghosts can be classified as good or bad, but Veer cannot be classified as such, because it is a combination of both. If used by a person with the knowledge and power of Tantra and mantras, it can help its master achieve even the most impossible tasks. It could do all the household works, plow a field of land within a night, and more. Veer can be very kind, and is actually a helping being by nature, and helps its master out in each difficulty of life, but it can be used to do evil works too. If instructed by its master to kill or eat someone, it will. On behalf of the work Veer does, it asks for some foods which could be anything, straws, animals or even a man. It is also said that, if it is imbalanced, it will cause mental problems up to many generations of the master. With a height of 8,848 meters, it is obvious that scaling the mountain and reaching the summit is in no way an ordinary feat. Many over the decades have tried to reach the summit of Mount Everest. Some have reached, but many unfortunates died in their quest. A total of 295 people have died on both sides of the mountain since 1924. Some are buried in deep crevices. It is like an open graveyard, where the bodies of the dead are kept perfectly preserved. If you get stranded on the snows of the Everest, then there will be very less to no hope for you. Even the rescue missions are considered suicidal. With so many tragic and untimely death of many people there, the mountain is said to be haunted. There are many incidents where people scaling the mountain encountered an unusual apparition or spirit of deceased climbers. In 1975, Dougal Hodgson and Doug Scott claimed to sense a third climber aiding their survival during one particularly brutal night on Mount Everest. The ghostly mountaineer that the men encountered apparently provided extra company, encouragement and helped them make it through the night. Maybe some ghosts are not bad after all. Pemba Dorje, a Sherpa climber from Nepal, also said he saw some spirit in the form of black shadows coming towards him, stretching their hands and begging for something to eat. However, British climber Frank Smythe may have the most colorful story. He describes encountering two presences, the first being a benign one that seemed so real he offered it some of his mint cake. Later, he encountered strange hovering objects, one of which had what looked like squat, underdeveloped wings, whilst the other had a beak-like protuberance like the spout of a tea kettle. They distinctly pulsated, as though they possessed some horrible quality of life. Boksi is the Nepali version of the Western pop culture witches, but it is actually quite different from them. Western pop culture depicts witches as an evil and ugly-looking old women on broom flying and causing trouble, but Boksi are a real problem in Nepal. Out of all of the urban legends, I wish people stop believing in this, because in some rural parts of Nepal still women are accused of being a witch and are beaten to death. It's just sad to hear about it. Boksi is considered to be a living form of ghosts. Boksi are supposed to be only women, having supernatural powers, and able to shape-shift into any animals they desire. People believe that Boksi mostly shape-shifts into cat, and still to this day people of Nepal consider a black cat crossing the road to be a bad omen. Some say Boksi can cause sleep paralysis, and suck the blood of sleeping people, and in the morning, those people find themselves with purple-bluish bruise similar to hickey with patterns resembling a bite mark. It is said that women become Boksi on their own wish. They can sacrifice and kill people, children and animals. The only way to rid them of their power is said to be cutting their hair.